Well, hello guys. This is Jack, and today I'm going to be talking about the Golden Globes. It is the first as I am recording this video. The Golden Globes are on Sunday, and it's a perfect time to kind of predict my final categories for this current award season. So I'm actually going to do all of the categories because I think it's better to do it that way. I didn't predict the rest of the categories a couple weeks ago before like the nominations came out, but now I'm pretty confident in some of my choices that I will make. So let's actually start from the beginning, which is Best Picture Drama. So Best Picture Drama, my top six is starting with The Brutalist at number 1, Conclave number 2, A Complete Unknown number 3, and then Dune Part 2 number 4, Nickel Boys number 5, and then September 5 at number 6. I still haven't seen September 5. I'm supposed to see it pretty soon. I'm getting a screener, so I don't know how the movie is, but if I remember correctly, a lot of people are just kind of like half-assed with the film. But I saw The Brutalist a couple weeks ago finally, and yeah, it deserves the number 1 spot here in my predictions. And I think it's going to win solely because of the fact that Brady Corbett has directed a $10 million film that feels like a $100 million film. And I think the Golden Globes, especially the newer generation of Golden Globe voters, will enjoy The Brutalist and how spacious and expansive the film is. But there's also, older voters who really enjoy like the classical Hollywood, filmmaking of Conclave, which if the older generation or like the older voters were completely here and weren't like kicked out, Conclave would have won, I think, the best drama category. But I'm still going with The Brutalist at number 1. And then number 3, A Complete Unknown. It makes sense here. It's a biopic and it's based on a really tall figure, which is Bob Dylan. Number 4, Dune Part 2. It makes sense to have it here at number 4. It keeps dropping down day by day as we get in closer to the Oscar nominations, and I think if this movie came out a little bit later in the year, it would have gotten more traction. But now it's kind of just like, it's just here to be here. And Nickel Boys is kind of like the same thing, but it's starting to have a momentum since it's coming out in early January. And September 5 is a spoiler for Best Picture at the Oscars. I don't think it's gonna like hit up the number 10, but you gotta like pay attention to the surprise head kick that September 5 will bring to this current award season. But yeah, it's like my top 6 for Best Picture Drama. And then next up I have Best Picture Musical Comedy, which is starting from 1 to 6, which is number 1, Nora, number 2, Wicked, number 3, Amelia Perez, number 4, A Real Pain, number 5, Challengers, and then number 6, I have The Substance. So starting from the beginning, Nora, a perceived front runner of the season so far. It's been racking up a lot of wins from the scorecard on Gold Derby. It has at least 12. The Brutalist has 6, and The Substance has 4 regional critics trifectas and other stuff. And yeah, like it's pretty inevitable to see that Honora will take the top prize for Best Picture here at the Golden Globes, but do also expect Wicked to take this spot because of its momentum right now and its box office potential, which it is in fact probably hitting, I think, close to 500 million right now. But it's one of the more popular films on this list. And Amelia Perez, you should also watch out because it's the most nominated film at the Golden Globes this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if somehow it does actually win the Best Picture Musical or Comedy here, which will start a holy war between the Wicked versus Amelia Perez stands. I would be very happy to see that because I like war. And then number 4, A Real Pain. This is just only for the momentum that Jesse Eisenberg has for this film. It's more of just, a writing, supporting actor type of deal with the movie, but you never know. I think it could actually steal from here if it actually does a really good job, but I don't expect it. Challengers also as well, although it's weird because Challengers is one of those movies that everybody puts on their like top 5 of like the best of the year, but like they don't like have the balls to, award it like the best picture at any, regional films as of late, from what I'm like looking at the tally on a Gold Derby. But in a perfect world, I wish challengers would have like won here, but it's not. And the same thing with The Substance. I think it's just glad to be here. I'm just really happy that The Substance is finally getting its dues. But yeah, like that's the only thing that The Substance has here is just it's just here. And yeah, but that's my reasonings with the Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy category. So next up, I have Best Director, which is starting from the bottom to the top, or top to the bottom. Number 1, I have Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. Number 2, I have Sean Baker for Honora. Number 3, I have Edward Berger for Conclave. Number 4, I have Emilia Perez, Jacques Audiard. Number 5, I have Coraline Farge for The Substance. And number 6, I have Pio Capaldia for All We Imagine as Light. Yeah. So let me just say this. I think Brady Corbett has the better narrative this year as he's directing a movie that is under $10 million, went through a bunch of hurdles in terms of like the production, and has come out with just one of the best looking like films this year. And especially like him like directing it with VistaVision in 35 millimeter, like you have to like commend the weight of Brady Corbett's talents. And then Sean Baker for Honor. If Brady Corbett didn't exist here, Sean Baker would have like taken this award, but I'm putting him at number 2 just to see, you know, maybe he could take it along with Picture, but I don't see that package. Edward Berger is another thing. He's not really like a showy director. It's more of like a take a back seat type of deal with the direction of Conclave. It's more of like an acting showcase than like a directing showcase. But I do think Emilia Perez, Jacques Audiard, his direction, even though it's kind of like spotty with balancing acts of like musical elements and camp and drama and fantasy, like this is another like look at to see if you think that Jacques Audiard deserves this spot. I personally do think he deserves a spot, especially since the film is again balancing a lot of like different acts, and even if the outcome of the film is not like perfect, I still think he deserves this nomination, especially Coraline Farge for The Substance. She deserves to be here at number 5. It's more of like the expressive, emotive type of deal with like the film Substance. I watched it again recently last night before the new day rang, and yeah, it's still damn good. And All We Imagine as Light is also a really great directed film by Capaldia. I actually rewatched this a couple weeks ago, and it won me over again, even more. So yeah, that's like my top 6 for Best Director. So next up I have Best Actress, a drama, starting from the top to the bottom. This one's gonna be really interesting because I have some thoughts about some of my placements here, but you know what? I'm gonna like read them out. Angelina Jolie, number 1. Fernanda Torres, number 2, I'm Still Here. Number 3, Kate Winslet for Lee. Number 4, Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. Number 5, Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door. Number 6, I have Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. So I'm going to start from the bottom. Pamela Anderson, The Last Showgirl. She's just happy to be here. I saw the movie at TIFF. I thought it was okay, but her performance was also just really, really good. And fully is like committed in the titular title role as a showgirl who is the last showgirl and the only showgirl who has to like wrap it up with her theatrics. And I think Pamela Anderson's performance in that film really carries the entire movie, even though I had some problems with the movie. It's kind of like middling. But she's just happy to be here. And the same thing with like Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door. That film just kind of like fell off the face of the earth. I saw it a couple months ago at a film festival, and I thought it was okay. Not Pedro's best film to date, and certainly not one that I will be like recommending to if you really want to like get into like Pedro Almodovar's films. But I thought Tilda Swinton's performance in that film was really strong, especially near the end of the film where it starts to get really depressing. I mean, the movie already is depressing like halfway through, but it's also very campy, just in like a titular signature Pedro style he usually does. And then Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. She did win the Volvi Cup at Venice, and she's just riding off of that wave. I think earlier on in the season, I would have put her on top. But I think now, since I rewatched the film, the movie's still pretty good to me, but I think her performance is going to be like hard to like grasp for a lot of voters, especially the older generations, since it's about sex and just promiscuity. I can't say the word, but yeah, like it's very like risque, and I think again this nomination here is just the win itself. Now, my top 3 is kind of chaotic. So number 3, I just mentioned Kate Winslet for Lee. My reasoning for her placement here is because she is campaigning the fuck out of this movie, even though the movie itself is just aggressively okay. If you did watch the movie, I was one of the few people who did watch it, and I thought it was just aggressively okay. But her performance in this movie it's pretty good. It's not that bad. It's not like something to write home about. But I think her resilience and just her showmanship of her like showing herself out of the campaign trail will skyrocket her up to this spot right here. I don't think she will win, but I'm waiting for like a really like crazy surprise, and if Kate Winslet like wins here, then I don't know if you should take her seriously for the Oscar, but it would be really funny if people just start predicting her for the nomination. But I don't see it going anywhere. But it's going to be really funny if she does win here. And then Fernanda Torres, I'm still here. I'm taking account with the foreign international voters, especially the newer ones that are here at the Golden Globes this year and last year. Brazil, it's one of their biggest films this year, and I reviewed it on my channel. I got like flagged and like flamed on due to, you know, my historical inaccuracies, but I will take the L for that. But anyways, I think Fernanda Torres' performance in that movie is really, really damn good. Even though the movie itself is just, it's good, but it gets really repetitive. But I do think Fernanda Torres, she could actually take it here. It would actually skyrocket her up to the Oscar nominations. But again, I'm kind of like resilient and kind of like taking a backseat with this placement, but I think it makes sense in my mind to put her at number 2, and it totally makes sense to have Angelina Jolie at number 1 here, even though her film just kind of like flopped. It came out on Netflix and just kind of went like bleh. But I thought her performance in the movie Maria was really, really good and deserves a win, at least, to kind of like break open the narrative of Angelina Jolie's career as an actress and what she's going through right now in her personal life. But I think these are like my reasonings why I have these placements for Best Actress Drama. So we're just going to like speed along with the rest of the categories, starting with Best Actress Musical or Comedy. Mikey Madison at number 1, number 2, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, number 3, Demi Moore for The Substance, number 4, Carla Garcion, Emilia Perez. Zendaya Challengers, number 6, Amy Adams, Night Bitch. I like to say Night Bitch. Night Bitch. No, so starting from the top, Mikey Madison, she is doing pretty damn well with her regional and just tally winner things. She has 17. And Marianne Jean-Baptiste has 10. She's not nominated here, which is sad, but it's whatever. I think she might get the BAFTA, but it makes sense to have Mikey Madison at number 1. And if you don't have Mikey Madison at number 1, please explain, because the only argument I have is Cynthia Erivo for Wicked at number 2, even though she's like 3 wins for like the regional critics guilds. But I think it's probably due to the fact that the Golden Globes is a populist awards body, and they love to like choose, you know, populist winners and actresses and actors, like big names. And Cynthia Erivo is a big name, especially since Wicked did pretty damn well at the box office. So you gotta like put that in your mind. And then number 3, I have Demi Moore for Substance, and it's probably because her campaign's been pretty damn strong, and she has the win narrative, especially since it's a movie about an aging actress who wants to be seen, and she's an aging actress who wants to be seen. Number 4, I have Carla Sofia Garcon for Emilia Perez. Placement here, for me, it makes sense because the movie is over-nominated, and it's one of those movies that even if you don't like the movie, you come out and saying, oh, Carla Sofia Garcon, her performance in that movie is fucking great, and it is. Zendaya Challengers and Amy Adams Night Bitch, these last 2 spots are just happy to be here. They're just name checks, and they're not going to go anywhere further in terms of Oscar nominations, although it would be pretty dope to see Zendaya if the Oscars had the balls to do it, but they don't, so it's whatever. But yeah, that's like my Best Actress listings. So next up, I have Best Actor Drama. Excuse me. So starting with number 1, I have Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Number 2, I have Timothée Chalamet, A Complete Unknown. Number 3, I have Ralph Fiennes, Conclave. Number 4, I have Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing. Number 5, I have Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. Number 6, I have Daniel Craig for Queer. Now, this is really fun. It's a toss-up between Adrian Brody and Timothy Chalamet. Now, listen up here. I think Adrian Brody can take it here, but my mind says Timothy Chalamet because I'm thinking about the younger generation of voters and press people who are a part of the Golden Globes this year and last year, since they had The Purge. So you gotta like really put your thinking caps on and see if they are going to go with, you know, the typical middle of the road pick, which is Adrian Brody, or are they going to go with the influencer pick, which is Timothy Chalamet? I like both of these performances really strongly. I think they deserve nominations. And I would say the same with like Ralph Fiennes and Coleman Domingo and Sebastian Stan and Daniel Craig, but I still have Adrian Brody at number 1 because The Brutalist is going to win Best Picture Drama. So it totally makes sense to have that package with Adrian Brody coming along. But again, my mind says Timothy Chalamet because, you know, Timothy Chalamet, his performance in that movie, even though he's playing a real life figure and he is playing music, he's doing the harmonica, he's singing, he's emulating Bob Dylan. He's doing it pretty damn well. And on top of that, like his campaign was just amazing. He hasn't done like any like the traditional campaigns with like the round tables and stuff like that. Instead, he's just been doing like podcasts, going on ESPN, acting like a sportscaster, going on Nardwar. Like this dude just knows how to like campaign for the new generation, and I think that will work in his favor. That's my mind and my like thinking. And then Ralph Fiennes and Coleman Domingo are just happy to be here, along with like Sebastian Stan and Daniel Craig. In another world, Ralph Fiennes would be taking this, but his performance in Conclave is very subdued, and it's kind of like a backseater performance compared to these two expressive, emotive performances from Brody and Chalamet. And you could say the same thing with like Coleman Domingo. His performance is also pretty showy, but Sing Sing as a movie itself has completely fallen off from grace due to A24's really shitty campaign this year. It's coming back this month, the movie, but it's too late. It's way too late. Like, it's not gonna get an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. I still think A Complete Unknown is gonna like overtake it. And then the rest of the two, Sebastian Stan and Daniel Craig, are just happy to be here. Like, really happy to be here, especially Sebastian Stan, who's been shitted on this year with his performance in The Apprentice. And I think the international voters will probably be more in liking of The Apprentice compared to, you know, us Americans, because we are tired of Trump. And Daniel Craig for Queer is just another name check. It shouldn't be like an only name check, because I thought the movie was incredible. It's like my number 1 movie, spoiler alert, was it 2024? It's 2025. Bear with me. But yeah, like you see his performance, and it's very transformative and just full of just very expressive life. But in a perfect world, I would have like thrown off Adrian Brody for Daniel Craig, but you gotta like think about like the Oscar bait. So yeah, that's like my top 6 for Best Actor Drama. So next up, I have Best Actor Musical or Comedy. This category is just completely fucking crazy. It doesn't make any sense, but it's just like, I think it's probably because, you know, selections of movies that came out this year. But the only thing that totally makes sense for me is to win is Jesse Eisenberg, a number 1 for A Real Pain. Number 2, I have Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. Number 3, Glenn Powell, Hitman. Number 4, Hugh Grant, Heretic. Number 5, Gabriel LaBelle, Saturday Night. And number 6, Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness. So starting with like Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain. Listen up. I think the movie is more of a writer's movie. It's going to win Best Original Screenplay. And I think the movie itself is tailored towards Kieran Culkin's performance, but Jesse Eisenberg, his performance in that movie also is very like full of life, and it's carried by, you know, Kieran Culkin's performance as well. It makes sense for him to win here. And I would say mostly the same with Sebastian Stan in A Different Man, because he's transformative and he's playing a guy who has a deformity. And Glenn Powell also as well, not like a deformity, but he's playing multiple roles as a hitman who disguises himself as different types of people. The other placement I have here, number 4, which is Hugh Grant for Heretic. He's been doing pretty damn well with the awards season. If I remember correctly, he I think also got the Critics' Choice nomination, which is pretty like interesting. Let me double check. Yeah, he did. So he's been doing pretty damn well with a lot of like the regional nominations and finally here with the Golden Globe nomination. So you have to like put him in consideration. Maybe as a spoiler for Best Actor at the Oscars, but I think Daniel Craig is going to like edge him out, no pun intended. Number 5, Gabriel Bell, Saturday Night, and number 6, Jesse Plemons. These last two are just happy to be here. Saturday Night just like fell off from the face of the earth, which is crazy because it's like total Oscar bait and it should have worked in our today's times, but I guess it didn't work. And Kinds of Kindness is just, that movie came out early, I think in the summer, and kind of like dropped off. So the only reason why Jesse Plemons is nominated here is because he won the Best Actor award at Cannes. So that's my top 6 for Best Actor, musical or comedy. So next up I have Best Supporting Actress. This is genreless. It doesn't apply to musical or comedy or drama. It's just an open field. And we start with Ariana Grande at number 1, Zoe Saldana number 2, Emilia Perez. Number 3, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. Number 4, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. Number 5, Margaret Qualley for The Substance. And number 6, Selena Gomez for Emilia Perez. So this is kind of like a toss-up situation with Ariana Grande versus Zoe Saldana. Ariana Grande and Zoe are completely tied in terms of regional wins for, the associations of critics spanning across several cities. They are a tie between 7 and 7. And personally for me, I think Ariana Grande is going to take it here because she's the bigger name check and she has the bigger movie that everybody has seen compared to Emilia Perez. But I do think the counterpoint is that Emilia Perez is the most nominated film here at the Golden Globes, so it totally makes sense for Zoe Saldana to win here. However, Zoe Saldana's character, it's kind of weird because her character is taking in the backseat even though she is basically the main character of the movie throughout, even though Emilia Perez is the title character. It's a weird thing, but I do think that might also hurt her. I do also think that Ariana Grande might be hurt a little bit because this is part 1 of a movie, Wicked, so she might have a chance to win again next year, so you gotta like take into consideration with that. But I still think Ariana Grande has the bigger edge because she's the bigger name and she has the bigger movie, so that's the reason why I have her at number 1 and I have Zoe at number 2. Now number 3, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. Doesn't make no sense because her performance is only here for about 5 or 10 minutes of screen time in the movie. However, this hasn't hurt her. She's just here and she's also a name check. She's one of the biggest international actors working today. She's the most respected and she does deserve her flowers, but does she extend far enough to win here? I'm not sure, but I think she can actually overtake these two people as long as the older voters are really like in tune with Conclave. And number 4, I have Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. She should be winning here, in my opinion. As much as I like Ariana Grande and Zoe Saldana's performances in those movies, I think Felicity Jones gives like the winning conversation performance of the year. Mainly because she shows up in the second half of the movie. She stills basically every scene she has, and then she dips out, and she gives a really good kind of attention to the story. Even when she's not on screen in the first half of the film, you kind of like feel the weight of her power over Adrian Brody's character until she shows up in the second half. But the only reason why she's not winning here is because, again, Ariana Grande and Zoe Saldana have 2 bigger movies here. And then number 5, Margaret Qualley, The Substance. It's just happy to be here, and I'm actually really glad she's nominated. She's getting a lot of nominations. I thought it was only going to be like Demi Moore who's going to like be the only person who's going to be nominated past the top of the line categories for The Substance, but it looks like Margaret Qualley is going to be here to stay, and I'm really happy. And then finally, Selena Gomez, Emilia Perez. It's a spoiler kind of candidate for Best Supporting Actress at any other awards, association this year, including the Oscars, but she's kind of a threat, but not really. It's only if Emilia Perez is truly like the biggest, most awarded film of the year, which it is right now. But yeah, like it's compared to Anora and The Brutalist. But I think Selena Gomez is just happy to be here. But yeah, that's my Best Supporting Actress nominee category predictions. So next up, I have Best Supporting Actor genreless, no musical or drama. It's just completely open. Starting with Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. Number 2, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist. Number 3, Denzel Washington, Gladiator 2. Number 4, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. Number 5, Yuri Borisov for Anora. And number 5, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. Kieran Culkin is going to win here. There is no debate. It's just going to happen. I don't see, a path for Guy Pearce, unfortunately, right now, even though the movie's going to win Best Drama. But I would be happy to see Guy Pearce taking it. But in another world, it's not going to happen, even then, because Kieran Culkin cannot be stopped. His performance in that movie is really strong, and I understand people are saying, oh, he's just playing himself, but he really isn't. There's more layers to that performance that is truly out of Kieran Culkin's reach as a real person, but as a character, he plays it so damn well. And Denzel's kind of happy to be here. Gladiator 2 kind of completely fell off. I thought he was going to be nominated for the Oscars, but now it's looking like it's not going to happen. Same with Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. It's more of a Golden Globes thing here. I think once we get past, Critics' Choice and Golden Globes, that film is going to completely fall off the face of the earth, and it's going to be more about A Real Pain, The Brutalist, and Anora, and A Complete Unknown. Those movies are going to be more popping off compared to The Apprentice. And then Yuri Borisov is another nomination here that I think might be a spoiler win because of the international voters here who are very attentive to Yuri Borisov's film career, because he was in compartment number 6 a couple years ago, and now he's showing up again, just time around with the Best Supporting Actor nomination. So, I think the international voters are going to be very attentive to his name next year or the years to come. And then number 6, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. This is just a name check, but also at the same time, A Complete Unknown, the movie itself, is getting really good reviews and audiences are really enjoying it. And Edward Norton's happy to be here, but also at the same time, his performance is very baity and very showy, but it's a warm and tender performance that I actually really enjoy. So yeah, that's my top 6 for Best Supporting Actor. So next up is Best Screenplay. At number 1, I have Anora. Number 2, Conclave. Number 3, A Real Pain. Number 4, The Brutalist. Number 5, A Substance. And number 6, Emilia Perez. So like I said, if The Brutalist is going to take Best Drama, you might as well split it with Sean Baker for Anora at number 1 for Best Screenplay. And I think it's definitely going to win the Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars, competing with A Real Pain and Conclave. I said before A Real Pain was going to win Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars, but I take that back. It's going to be Anora. It makes sense here. It's one of the most unique screenplays this year, and Sean Baker is a really great lyricists on the page, and Conclave also as well has a really good strong screenplay type of thing, a lot of dropping bombs of names and just a lot of scathing dialogue. A Real Pain also has the same thing, but it's more of a comedic thing, and The Brutalist, I think, has the most densest words on the page when I saw the film. Substance is beautifully written. It's very chaotic if you actually take a look at the screenplay at hand. And Emilia Perez, it's kind of a weird deal with that movie, because it's a movie that has Spanish actors created by a French director, which a French production. So basically it's translating from French to Spanish and then back to English with the subtitles. So the loss in translation is apparent when you watch the movie, but once you take a backseat with the dialogue and you focus more about the feelings and the emotions of the movie, it kind of falls off the dialogue sphere. But once again, Emilia Perez is the most over-nominated film of this year in the Golden Globes, at the Golden Globes. So it makes sense to have it at number 6 because it's not well written. My words are scrambled. I'm starting to lose it. But yeah, that's my top 6 for Best Screenplay. So next up I have Best Picture in Non-English or International Feature, starting with Emilia Perez at number 1, All We Imagine That Light as number 2, I'm Still Here at number 3, The Seed of a Sacred Fig at number 4, The Girl with the Needle at number 5, and Vermiglio at number 6. So the top 2, Emilia Perez is going to win here. It's the most nominated. I keep on repeating myself, but it's the most nominated film at the Golden Globes. Number 2, All We Imagine as Light, is the clear runner-up because of the director nomination, and it makes sense. For it to be here. And then I'm Still Here at number 3. I think I'm Still Here should, be at number 2 in the listings because Brazil turned in one of the biggest films of their year. And on top of that, even though the film itself is unseen for a lot of people, those who have seen it, like me, think that it's a really touching and emotional film. And it's kind of like reminiscent of the older times where the classical filmmaking styles of international features appeared out of the woodwork and made, a lot of good shit. So it makes sense here. And then The Seed of a Sacred Fig and The Girl with the Needle and Vermiglio are just kind of like toss-ups. I think The Seed of a Sacred Fig deserves to be here at number 4 because it's one of the most talked about international films of the year, including I'm Still Here and All We Imagine as Light, especially since the director was outed from his home country and is now living in Europe. So the whole entire movie deals with just a family going through terrible hardship, and it turns into violence, political violence. But yeah. And The Girl with the Needle, I haven't seen yet. I can't really talk about it. And the Vermiglio, I'm running with my words. Vermiglio, I just saw recently. Thought it was fine. Beautiful scenery. Story was just mid, but it's whatever. So those last 3 spots are just happy to be here. And that's my best picture, non-English. So next up, I have best picture in the animated field, starting with The Wild Robot, Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, excuse me, I'm just recovering from a cold, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and then number 6 I have Moana 2. The Wild Robot and Flow are doing pretty damn well in terms of nominations and wins. The Flow is the spoiler to win here, but I do think The Wild Robot will take its spot. Inside Out 2 also as well is just happy to be here, but I do think Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and Moana 2 are all fighting against these spots, although I think Inside Out 2 has the stronger narrative, even though it's a sequel to a movie that is... I think the first movie is better than the second movie, but the second movie is still pretty good. And then Memoir of a Snail is happy to be here along with Wallace and Gromit and Moana 2. Moana 2 is not going to be anywhere else this year in terms of nominations. This is probably the last time you're going to see it. I think it did get nominated for the Critics' Choice, if I remember correctly, but that's probably because the movie was just about to come out before the voting started for the Critics' Choice. Let me double check because I need to have a little, confirmation, I should say. I think it did get nominated for Critics' Choice, but yeah, anyways, that's the only time it's gonna be there. After that, it's pretty much done for Moana 2. So yeah, that's my predictions for Best Animated Feature at the Golden Globes. Okay, so I do need to do the cinematic box office achievement nomination, so I'll just go quick. Wicked, number 1, Deadpool, number 2, Inside Out, number 3, Gladiator 2, number 4, Beetlejuice, number 5, Twisters, number 6, Alien Romulus, number 7, and The Wild Robot, number 8. I don't need to say anything about this category. It's fuck ass, and it needs to be eradicated from the face of the earth. So these last 2 categories, the best original score and best song, I'm going to do them together. So starting with number 1, I have The Brutalist, number 2, Conclave, number 3, Challengers, number 4, Dune Part 2, number 5, The Wild Robot, number 6, Emilia Perez. So starting with the best original score, The Brutalist is going to take it here because I think it has more overture score in the film as I listened to it while I was watching the movie, and it makes sense for it to win here because it's going to win best drama. I have no counterpoints aside from maybe Conclave, because Conclave is scored by a person who did the All Quiet on the Western Front score, which did win the best score at the Oscars. So you have to kind of take it into consideration. What should be really winning here is Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I'm tripping over my words. For Challengers should be winning, literally, but the Academy and the Golden Globes are not cool. So we have to live with that day by day, every waking morning and evening. And then number 4, Dune Part 2, Hans Zimmer. He is ineligible at the BAFTAs and the Oscars because of the score being reminiscent of the first film. So he's happy to be here, and I have no counterpoints with him being here. It could say the same thing with the rest of it too, with The Wild Robot and Emilia Perez. Like, these are just 2 films that are populist and are happy to be here. So going to original score, according to the awards expert app, I have El Mal from Emilia Perez at number 1, Mi Camino, number 2 for Emilia Perez, number 3, Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot, number 4, Beautiful That Way from The Last Showgirl, number 5, Better Man, Forbidden Road, and number 6, Compress Repress by Challengers. Yeah. So the 2 Emilia Perez songs are going to be fighting it off. I prefer El Mal to win here because it's the opening song and it's the one that really sticks with you when you watch the movie. Mi Camino, as a song, it's really good, but it only happens for a few seconds. The song happens and then it just ends. In the movie, the soundtrack has a better mix, in my opinion. I've been listening to the soundtrack for the past couple of months and I fucking love it. I don't care. Kiss the Sky with The Wild Robot, generic ass song, but it's here, it's whatever, and The Wild Robot is gonna win animated feature, so why not? Beautiful That Way. Miley Cyrus does this song for The Last Showgirl, and it's a good song. I enjoy it. It's one of the better Miley Cyrus songs that I've listened to. And the number 5, Better Man by Robbie Williams. Us Americans don't know who Robbie Williams is, so me thinks he's not gonna win here. And I think his song is also eligible at the Oscars. It wasn't shortlisted because I think he stole a melody from another song, as he usually does from what I've been reading with his history of Robbie Williams. And Compress Repress by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, it's just happy to be here, but low-key I wish it would win, because I think that song really encapsulates the entire themes of Challengers as a movie. But yeah, those are my original song and score predictions. And those are my predictions for the Golden Globes, which is going to be happening on Sunday as I'm recording this video. Thank you guys so much for, watching this video. I might do live reactions to the Golden Globes. I'm not sure, but I might be just hopping on Discord with some friends and watch the ceremony for ourselves, and then we'll talk about the predictions and stuff that I got wrong. But I do think I have a really good feeling about my predictions, especially I think in the drama and musical categories. I think it's going to be a blast. Stay tuned also for my Oscar predictions coming soon. I know the nominations are going to be on the 17th of January, so stick around. I might do it a week before. But yeah, thank you guys. Check out my best of 2024 video. I did a really good job with it. Yeah. Peace out, guys.